Let's see if this works. Is it working? Check my stream. I think it should be working. In fact, I'm so confident. Let me click off now and just assume it's working until I can see it. There I am. Yes. Okay. Finally got some time for some open source. I want to make some software. Actually, I don't know what I'll make, but there's a lot to do. There's a lot to go through. The idea of this video is just to kind of capture or document. The last time I wrote open source, I don't think you could just click onto YouTube and more or less archive every moment of your work. So that's part of the experiment. And otherwise, I don't really have any ambition to be like prepared. In other words, I'd like to document thinking through things and be preparing myself rather than prepare offline and show up and be like totally ready. But however, okay, so what I've done since my last session is watched a ton of YouTube, read like blog posts and Reddit and things like this, just all of the kind of developer buzz, and also just concrete kind of concrete advice or APIs or whatever it is, specifically for like very, very high, fine detailed control of Claude Code, or like optimizing it in some way or using it in some way. Everything about using Claude Code. Because where we left off, let me just kind of I want to get caffeinated and get like inspired. Do another audio check because I'm paranoid. Like very, very high, Yeah, I think it works. So get super caffeinated. Some of it's overwhelming. I've got some projects I've seen now that are super mature looking and super exciting. But that's cool. It's open source. I'm not scared. So I want to go through that to just kind of kick off and get excited and get kind of into it. That's kind of the one of the awesome benefits of open source is you can kind of like get excited about things, or only do things you're currently excited about. You can scratch the itch, as they say. So I think, I remember when I signed off. Oh yeah, I think no more debriefing at like 3 in the morning after I've slogged through a bunch of coding or walkthroughs or something. I think that was a huge success. That was way more successful than I was kind of thinking. Yeah, so what? It was rough getting things going and following along or whatever. It also occurred to me, I got to get like way, way, way more sea legs using Claude Code. And so a common thing people say to do is tell Claude Code, go read this, getting started documentation and let's get started. However, I don't know, it's sort of a judgment call, just like it's always been. I think nothing's changed here in that you got to like build muscles in some areas and others, not. For example, I more or less have no idea how CPU hardware works to any, competency, to any level of like, competency. As far as I'm aware, CPUs just run Python code directly on the hardware. They've got little, little lists and little tuples and little strings and all of that in the CPU somehow. Right. So, and I've more or less never learned it. One idea. I don't know if I wrote this down. Let me just write down. Another area I've never really or never really exercised ever is assembler coding. I just missed that generation. When I kind of started programming, there was a ton of information on C, and there was graphic stuff, and there was good stuff on PC. So never did assembler. So one of these use cases I'll come to maybe is I should be able to go to Claude Code and say, hey, pull up this like open source Nintendo game, tell me what's up, and maybe even, help me do stuff. I should be able to say, like, pull up this open source Nintendo game, like if you shoot all the, well, not Duck Hunt, that's maybe intellectual property, but like whatever, when you beat level 1 in the Nintendo game, it sends a text message to you on Twilio or something. In principle, Claude Code should be able to put that together. Anyway, to jump back though, so I learned a lot about how to use Claude Code, which I've written down here. So I wanted to go through it. And I think I wanted to basically update this README and add a couple of sections and kind of structure it a little more and get into kind of what to do next and what to think about. There's a ton of ideas just from reading and kind of learning some of the advanced, just some Claude related stuff. What do I want to do? I think I know what I want to do. Let me get a couple colored pens and just read through it real quickly aloud without kind of stopping. And then I'm just going to use 2 colors for some reason that I think will come to me in a moment. There's a ton of stuff about how Claude Code has no memory. I love that. It's stateless. There's a Claude.md, obviously. What am I saying? It's checked in. Oh, later on, I know it'll mention that I think you can have hierarchical Claude.mds, one in every subdirectory, and it reads up to the top. I heard a little mixed messages there, but that's good to know. There's settings for what to allow. I think I knew that. Now it's very clear to me. There's like a .claude/settings.json or something like that, and it's just all this yes, no stuff, true, false. Something I believe that I heard in the grapevine, a little anecdote here is it's really good with command line tools. So the big example is apparently there's a command line tool, GH, which is a GitHub command line. Yes, this GitHub CLI. So the word on the street is Claude Code running command line tools is the sweet spot, not not logging into GitHub on the browser. Nope. And also not MCP, not an MCP tool for it to do GitHub over MCP, which I would expect in the fullness of time that would be the proper thing that could and should work. But CLI, and I totally buy it. I think it's trained up on how to run shell commands and how to. I think that totally makes sense. And so much of this project, I think, is these activities is how to set up these LLMs for success. Basically, how to get it most likely to do the most valuable thing most of the time. Okay, Claude. All right, that's the command line tools. Attach MCP. Anthropic says best practices. Okay, whatever. The window. Oh yeah, the CLI is better than MCP. Okay. I think there may be either an explicit or you can kind of ask. You can do a compaction step, and people talk a lot about it. Oh, I'm running out of context. I need to compact. I'm coming from a CouchDB background. I'm totally comfortable compacting. I think that's awesome. In fact, the thought is deliberately compact. You can compact, I think, with some sort of instructions or goals or something like that so that it compacts the most appropriately for whatever you're trying to do. And so that may be something to call into. Let me start. I'm going to edit this file because I do think I want to just update it live while I talk to myself. So the point was, maybe, let me think. Do I want a Claude Code? Nah, I just want to type into here. I'm supposed to get my sea legs, but I don't care. So for the to-dos, let me think. I need to add whole new sections. I need to add sections that say, yeah, there's going to be a whole new section for uh like direct Claude Code control, you know. I have a ton of notes about just if you want to do this, here's how you do it. If you want to do that, here's how you do it. Specifically to make Claude Code do the right thing. Um, oh, there's also, yeah, there's like architectural like influences. Yes, yes, yes. And then maybe there's just that to do that already exists. Let's start there. I want to get going. Let's get caffeinated. Okay. I've been thinking about Vibe DevOps and how ridiculous it is and all that. I'm kind of thinking like free CTO, that first use case. There's like an expert use case in here too. Maybe it still fits in scope, but I, we'll come to it. I'll come to it here. The royal we will come to it here because there's some mature projects out there that do things in this area. Of course, if you're the only one, out in the solution space in open source, that's actually a red flag, not a confirmation of any sort. So I found a couple of them, but they're super mature, super developed, and so what's the point? What's distinguishing? What's differentiating? I have I wanna think that through. So then so then architecture, that's cool. So for the core concepts, this knowledge evolution is nonsense. These LLMs are just absolutely ridiculous. I'll keep it for a second. I've been thinking, I think it was a joke. I can't remember how seriously I said it, but I think real time is maybe more worth thinking about than I had joked about. I know I wrote a note about it, so it'll come up. Real-time systems. Okay, so in the architecture, what level will I do? 3, is it? Okay, so like influences or inputs. That's fine. I'll know what it means. Some inputs. In fact, real time, like real time. What am I trying to say? Real time, or like robust. Let me just say real time systems, and keep going. That's exactly one of the examples that might influence the thinking as an influence. Okay. The other thing, so I do have my to-do list, that's fine. And then the other thought was specific Claude Code, not thoughts. What is this? Experiments? Nah. No, not experiments. The sung heroes. I love my sung heroes. Okay. Where do I want to put it? Don't care. It's on the whiteboard. Yeah, let's put it on the whiteboard. Let's just say like, yeah, let's just put it here. Controlling, something like that. Claude Code. All right. Cool. So I'll keep going through my notes. Kind of just scratch it out with my pen. There's no memory. Let me just, I guess, write that down. That's kind of extremely well known. Claude.md, possibly like one per subdirectory, basically. I saw one sort of power user, I think from Anthropic, say like literally every subdirectory in the entire repo has a Claude.md, and they kind of cascade or something, which that's kind of awesome. That's sort of, if that's true, I again, I thought I heard some conflicts that with mono repos that became a problem or something. I want to confirm it. That's great. Because that's kind of this thought I had in the middle of the night about like maybe it's kind of like these open source models, these like stable diffusion and real similar models that have low rank adapters, LoRa's, which are these like really lightweight fine tunings you can just stack and shove into them, and it'll direct the typical behavior of the model in this extremely detailed way. It's super awesome. And they can kind of stack on top of each other and layer on top of each other. So maybe without even really thinking too much, CloudMD will do that. That's great. I guess, yeah, I'll just capture in like I guess the idea is sort of, what do I want to say? Like populate. Maybe without even really thinking too much, CloudMD will do that. That's great. Not sure how long. Yes, populate. Is it like dot Claude slash something, I don't know, settings dot JSON? This is an example, like on the fly. Maybe. This is an example of the like matrix, this matrix idea, or eternal sunshine. Why is all movie references in this project? This meaning like when it's time for Claude Code to. In fact, I think this is definitely going to happen. This has got to happen. To make Claude Code the most likely to succeed, the context has to be like everything that's important and no more and nothing extraneous, and it's got to be like super ready. So in other words, like I think my suspicion is this may be an optimization or something, but I think this optimization will come, which is for example, there's never an MCP server available to Claude Code or any of these other agents, probably for that matter, which is not definitely going to be used in the solution. You know, it must never happen that you say, also there's this thing that can look up the weather and that's irrelevant. That sort of thing kind of applied really thoroughly, meaning that is I think the only way, if Claude Code can accomplish these sorts of things, that's the only way it'll be able to do it. And in other words, you can just sort of generate a settings.json just in time. You can, if you want, generate a settings.json Git history that you manufacture just in time. I don't think that's necessary, but all of that's on the table. And then you boot, and then you boot up Claude Code and say, here's what we're doing. And for every, little, microcosm or little context or conversation or whatever, that can all be dynamic. I think in principle, that can all be completely dynamic. Settings.json, Claude.md, all of these things. Okay, what else? What else did I write in my notes? Oh, I'll write this down. So GH is more effective, I guess I'll say, whatever that means. MCP. That's an assumption that may sort of move over time. That may change over time. I don't know if I want to really. I certainly wouldn't want to like architect anything into any one of these. For that matter, I don't really plan to architect potentially even Claude Code. There's a couple of, basically there's another closed source one and another open source one that might be interesting in this project, but first things first. Okay. Yep. Faux compaction, which I just mentioned. Oh, so I guess I'll sort of, how do I make this thing? Right. That could work. If the window is accumulating, or if the conversation is accumulating lots of stuff, or not even if it's accumulating. I think that people are saying, oh, as a human, it gets all full and you got to compact it. But I think compaction would just sort of be part of the operation. It would say, all right, we're going to do we're going to plan something. All right, plan is good. We compact and we move along something. Yeah, this is extremely kind of implementation detail maybe today, but when do agents hand off with a fresh context and or just in time, like matrix claude.md and static.json? And when do you hand off with a compaction with a yeah with a compaction output with a um what am I thinking? I'm thinking of like sitcom like last time on Dallas or whatever. Like bring you up to speed. Step. I have no idea. Um, at the moment, what goes in Claude.md, what goes in Claude.md at what level of detail or whatever. Does the output of compaction help? All of that is kind of nebulous to me. It occurs to me, I don't know if I wrote this down. This is a good note. If I ever wire up a dictation thing that tracks my notes, I want this one. Um, I think I want to maybe learn what's out there, what's in open source, what's the state of the art on assessing like quality from this. So in this specific example, I'd love to say, well, I don't know, once the plan is done, we got to start writing some code. So is it better or worse to just crash that state and start a new one with the plan and the Claude.md and tell Claude to start writing code? Or is it better to run compaction, perhaps for multiple little sub agents or any reason, as a bootstrap information? And what does it even mean to be better? Is it like Is it more likely if you run 10 builds? If you run 100 builds, does it move the needle? It's not even clear to me what quality kind of looks like just yet, but I think if I'm serious about this, that may have to become a thing. I may have to sort of become a little expert on. I know there's definitely like LLM quality testing. I'm actually excited to get into that and kind of catch up to the state of the art there. But that's like this prompt in, this output, this little agent runs to do the right thing. And I'm thinking more of like more high level, much more high level, coordinating these agents, because ultimately we'll come to it. It's got to get extremely high level, which is like, can we confirm that we have business continuity? If how safe are we against ransomware? Right? That's could be in scope. I don't want to go crazy on scope, but I think that's the sort of thing that a sensible, smart human user would be like, hey, this is what's important to me. Okay, we'll get there though. There's a lot. Okay, the window. Oh, I learned. Oh yeah. Let me just quick note. 200,000 token window. Don't know why I care. Faux compaction, good. Plan and to-dos. Verify the plan. Yeah, okay, so there's going to be a ton of themes. There's going to be a ton of themes. I don't know if this is an influence. Maybe I'll call it an influence. This will be, so floating around at least the Claude Code like world, if not more, is there's this this kind of powerful pattern of it's like I wrote it. There's a few variants, but it's like plan, measure twice, and then execute, and then confirm some kind of thing. Let me see if I can find it. Plan and to dos, like plan, verify. Let's see if I can find the other one. There's a plan. The idea is it's like plan. Oh, I remember. It's like research. It's like investigate. Here it is. Here it is. Explore, plan, code, review. 4 phases. This is one idea. Explore. Let's try that. I don't know about code. Yeah, explore, plan, code, and review. I don't know if that review means like review the code base. I'll group them together there because you're not even close to done when you're done coding in DevOps. You're not even close to done. Uh, now what? Like test, code review test, I'll say. Because I just want to keep this simple. And then like, let me just say this, build, and then ship, let's say. Maybe. And then review. Let me say this. I'll say ship. And then I'll say like test or confirm. Something like that. I'm like capturing my own idea. Explore, plan. I'll say build. Ship is weird. Something like that. Confirm. That this was this. It's everyone's. I mean, it's an LLM, right? So you don't. It doesn't. Everyone kind of had their own take, but this kind of echoed through several people's success stories. Is this like planning mode? And in fact, there's an explicit. It'll come up again. There's an explicit planning mode. There's an explicit like plan. There's several ways to make Claude Code plan and like plan carefully and all these things. So I'll come to it. Let me see if I can move faster. This is boring. Okay. Faux compaction plan. Good. TDD. I guess this is an influence. Let me think. Controlling Claude Code. Now I'll put it under controlling. TDD is key, I'll say. I'll say maybe, just to clarify, TDD may be like required, like mandatory. Maybe like, what am I trying to say? Table stakes or like maybe no, non-negotiable. That's what I'm thinking. The reason is the feedback. People say TDD is the most likely way to get Claude Code to succeed. In other words, test-driven development. So you explicitly say, Claude, we're doing TDD, and then you're triggering all its TDD memories or attention or whatever they say. And, you know, for whatever task we're trying to do, first I want the unit test to work but fail, and then I want you to implement the passing, you know, implementation of it. And when all of that passes, we check that into the work. We check it into Git. And that's the only way. The point of being test driven is that that is the only way to move forward. You know, if you want to write code, you must write a failing test case first. At least the theory, pretty much. And the feedback was sort of it's like better or something. And my thinking is maybe it's non-negotiable. If I don't know. My gut feeling is it may be non-negotiable, which is fine. I think I would expect these LLMs to be very good at doing TDD. I would expect it to kind of work. I would hope. We'll get to. There's a lot of. I don't know what to do about. I think there's an entire challenge in this project having to do with planning, and so what are we testing is actually the more important question, and I'll come to it. So there's TDD. I heard mention of parallelizing Claude Code, and it was two ways to do it. So work trees, which I heard mentioned offhand. I don't know if that's a real thing, but then subtasks, or I assume they mean sub agents. This is a massive. These agents is a huge part of like Claude Code power usage. That's a huge like big one. Okay, this person is saying escape is your best friend. Press escape twice to jump back in the conversation. So they're just saying, okay, if you're a Claude Power user, press escape and press escape twice. And that kind of makes me think, just to be output oriented, let me write that down. I guess I'll try to figure out how to use like the escape functionality via API. Because of course, I'm not sure how the UI is going to be wired up. There's notes about the UI also. There's open source projects there coming up. But as a preview as a spoiler or something. I think there may be some sort of supervision or like um like skepticism or like challenging kind of role setup where one person uh a subroutine querying an LLM is challenged with like poking holes, like scrutinizing the original idea of another system, that another subroutine that just ran, and that they can kind of fight. And only when, I don't know, there's a clear victor or something, is it allowed to proceed to actually be built or something like that. So this escape may be that kind of in a small scale. In other words, if this thing is spitting out its plans in real time, which I believe it is, there's like an API or hook where it's showing you its structured plan. Um, it'd be really potentially valuable to track that and to watch that and to have an LLM pay attention to that itself and be prompted to return true or throw a flag uh, if it seems to be what would I say, if the plan or the execution or the current state in all of that seems to be bad in some way, or going the wrong way in some way. um Hello, hello. Yep, right. And then change it back. Hello, hello. Hello, does that change anything? Now it does that. Okay. That did do it. Okay, I know exactly what to put in my dog fooding. I know exactly what to put in my dog fooding. That's the second time this different audio problem, which I don't want to learn how to be a broadcaster or audio person or whatever. I do not want to learn. So this thing, like, if this thing can watch me live or something, comfy, like alert or video. Okay. Every single thing I've said out loud that's been worth capturing, I've captured, so it's totally fine. All right, now what? So I got the GH. I was just gonna very quickly ask Claude. Yes, I do. So where's that shift tab? Oh, we're in auto accept, I see. Contemplating, okay. So we'll do this, Claude. We'll figure out the repo, and then I was gonna ask it about like Docker isolation. Tell it to check the Git history. Okay. Um. Oh, I wanted to go to let's go to plan mode. Yeah, let's see if that's. I think that's the point. Are there is taking actions? Are there what is this project doing running Docker? Right. Are there mechanisms? Let's try that. All right. Readmes. Nice. It's searching. Cool. Okay. OpenAI is meant to be run by a single user on their local workstation. It's not appropriate for multi-tenant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think a dog fooding idea I had. Because I'm kind of sick of these cloud. Several dog food ideas now. Actually, every time I go to a project, they've got a cloud they want me to get on. They want me to use their agent framework and they want me to pay $20 for their cloud. It's so many of them. I don't know if that's a LLM AI thing or just a 2025 thing, but 10 years ago or so, like literally every GitHub project says pay for our pro cloud. It's I don't begrudge them that, but it's a massive change I've noticed. Okay. So rather than pay for my cloud, rather than just booting up a new like Claudey with a chance of DevOps, Claudey with a chance of DevOps cloud, the thought would be like there's like a easy like hello world instructions or something. There's like easy hello world to like boot it, to like run it in like a major cloud, and then you tell it, you know, then it can like bootstrap, you know, secrets, like secret, like a, I'm trying to say like a secrets vault or like backups or whatever. So the point is, it's like you want to get started because it's Docker. I'm nervous that, you know, it locks out a ton of people who kind of want to just try it in, you know, quickly. I think that's a massive, you know, really smart thing Claude Code does. It just ship over npm. So the and to play to its strengths, I'm wondering, could could there be like a, just like run this Docker, container in Azure, in the like, what's it called? The port, the like CLI or whatever it's called, the terminal, or all these overlapping names, um, the like terminal in Azure or whatever. Text, right? And then once it boots up, you're like, hey, I'm doing the Azure Hello World, or I'm doing the Hello World or whatever. Or maybe you could even detect it, from kind of special code to detect, is this the like documented Hello World circumstance? So am I booting up? There's no storage, there's no anything, and someone just wants to talk to me on text or something like that. And if so, then I need to ask them, I think this is coming down the line here. I need to ask them, like, how much money are you spending on this thing? Is it $1 or $10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000? If you're spending $10,000, we're going to do much more thorough backups than if you would rather lose the data than lose any more dollars, right? All those questions can be answered from that Hello World kind of bootstrap. You say, oh, we're on AWS. Well, okay, what are we doing? You want me to back you up or something? That's the dog food use case. What's next? Build agents. Call/compact with instructions. Yeah, I already did that. So that was open hands. Oh, we can read open hands here in a second. Then there's the next one, which is oh, I saw there's some Claude Code like UIs already. I think there's already, yeah, this is the one I saw. I think there's a couple. Yeah, these are the two that I saw. So it's coming. It's coming, and maybe this is worth kind of swallowing up into this repo, that if it does come to pass that in addition to, either on the, I guess, in the chat pane rather than the do pane, you end up directly interacting with Claude Code, either because it's advanced mode and you want that, or it can't be helped. Then maybe some of these web UIs could be used to smooth it out. I kind of agree that I don't have a personal opinion too much about CLI versus GUI or anything, but for this application, it's going to be, this is the worst it can get, would be, or this is nice. This is nice. The only alternative I could think of would be like running Xterm or running GNOME Terminal or something in that desktop. I don't like that. Just to run it. I mean, you're running tons of graphical software just to run a CLI app. It's insane. So, this could be fun. This could be cool. Any one of these. So let me maybe write them down. Let's write down a couple of them. Close the B trees, close the B trees, close the PRDs, close the subagents. So, what would this be? These web UIs. I guess I'll just put it in my whiteboard kind of notes. Thoughts. All right. CC web UIs. Example. Okay, so what's that one? Claude Code web UI. What else was there? Claude Code UI. How do they capitalize themselves? Claude Code UI. Got it. That's kind of the smartest. Okay. Good. Claude Code web UIs are in the notes. What else? Swallow any engineering. Build agents per call or per project. I think I kind of wrote that. That's sort of the matrix idea. The sub agents could be dynamically generated. Yes, that's the matrix idea. Next, call/compact with instructions. I already also did that. Change the model. I already did that. We're deduplicating a little here. Change the model. Correct. Hooks. It just says hooks. Okay, whatever. I'll just say hooks then. I don't want to overthink it. Okay. Yes, I'm aware there's tons of hooks in Claude Code. There's some like possible MCP must-haves, let's say. So I'm hearing these are kind of anecdotes, so I'm not sure, but let's start with it. So context 7, fire crawl, and playwright. This is the 3 that I heard. Playwright's already kind of documented in there. So context 7 is awesome. So there's an MCP server. It's documentation for LLMs. Love it. So you can kind of search through there. So this would be kind of a shortcut or an optimization. But this is so likely to approach 100% probability of correct behavior. I love it. How to use Vercel, how to use Fast API, all this. So then I guess, cool. They tell me neat. So, this is I've heard an anecdote that this is super helpful. And Firecrawl, I think it's not Puppeteer, but it's for web crawling. The web crawling API for LLMs. Yeah. So I don't know if this overlaps with. I mean, this advice I heard, it was Firecrawl and also Playwright. So I think this is whoa. This is so what do you handle? Parsing, fine. Okay. Now I don't know if this is open source, right? It must be, right? Oh my God, 500 credits. Okay. Anyway, captured. What else? Claude Code UI. Open hands. We looked at. I'll keep it open. I'm gonna go look at that output in a moment. We're down to the last bits. Yeah, so Claude.md in every folder. Did I say that? I believe I did. Yes, one per subdirectory. Changelog.mds. Also, I heard a little anecdote. Where was I saying references? Right. Changelog.md. Captured. Plan.md. Captured. Is that an explicit Claude Code thing? Plan.md. Or I see the planning mode. No, there is no plan.md. Like as an explicit thing, it's just an implicit thing. It's actually very, very good. I now use it almost. Cool, brainstorming, wonderful. Keep going. Learn all slash commands. Yeah, basically all slash commands are pretty much going to be probably worth looking into. Example. /review /pre-commit, was it? Pre-commit, was it? No org tree, but a planning tree. Yeah. Now we're going to do my thinking on planning. Yeah, a planning tree. A plan tree. A plan tree. I looked into this a little bit. The thought is, again, like I don't know. I think I've seen there's a little bit of kind of academic work here. But oh yeah, I wrote them down. They'll come up. There's a couple of ways to structure like a goal as a tree, and then there's some software to sort of push through it. And what I need to understand is I think there tends to be sort of like building out a plan. It's sort of one mode of operation, and then like moving towards a goal is another mode of operation. But this might be really DevOps is often that loop is little planning, little movement, little replanning, little removement or something. But anyway, would that plan be a tree structure? That's my hypothesis actually right now as it is. Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of software to help. I was hoping there's all sorts of software where you can say, I want some LLM and a bunch of software to help me plan. Um, and so right now, I guess, let me just say, God, now I'm terrified about audio. Yeah. Um, rather than, maybe that it's interactive. What am I trying to say? It's like very, very thorough, but it's also like, what am I trying to say? The root node, like the root node is the human like request, and then it's totally unpacked and unpacked um to like execution, so to be built, unpacks to like to build, to validate, to report back, something like that. Let's just stop there because I think there's more coming. Okay, plan. Learn all slash commands, blah, blah, blah. No org tree, but a planning tree. Yeah, the kind of theory here is like using agentic development to reproduce human, like, influence networks or influence trees or, org charts is a mistake. Instead, generate a massive plan, so it's like a high level, it's like, let's get this thing done. And then there's a tech part of the plan and a product part of the plan or something like that. But there aren't humans in there like playing roles. It's just completely thoroughly mapped out. And then the way it's executed may or may not be those same human roles. It's all, I mean, like down to almost the individual word going into those prompts, they could be, it could be that fine grained. A human is a coarse grained kind of, even a role like a product owner or a front end developer is a very, very coarse grained concept compared to like when you think about every individual word or token in a prompt. So anyway, the question is, use a tree not to make an org chart and make people boss each other around, but to make a super, but basically just loop and loop and loop and never stop until the plan is somehow obviously done, extremely thorough, and the detail is sufficient, whatever that means. Plans are famously kind of it's hard to see that in plans, most plans, but that's the idea. Let's keep going. So that's planning. Okay, we got a new dog food idea I had. I don't know if it'll make it, which is, again, instead of clouds, I'm so sick of all these clouds. Like a platform to, what am I trying to say? Sell GPU time to each other, like a P2P kind of platform. So if I have an RTX or something, and then the idea is it would run Claudey with a chance of DevOps. So if I'm like a CEO, I could just hire on this platform. It's not LinkedIn. I'm not finding a co-founding CTO or whatever. I'm just finding any like person, on a bidding market or whatever, who will sell me some GPU time. And I just sit there and talk to my Claudey with a chance of DevOps. Free CTO person, and I pay GPU time instead of paying an equity for stock options and stock grants for a massive founding co-partner or co-founder for a massive co-founding partner, right? So that's the idea. We'll see if that's worth building. Next. Oh, I just wrote the word guardrails. I forget. Let me just write it down. I remember the idea. Back to the like, what are they like those antagonist networks or whatever? Maybe a monitor or like, like data leaks, um, exfiltration, stuff like that. In other words, not guardrails for the typical stuff. I mean, not just guardrails for the typical stuff, but um, the idea like a guardrails, like maybe an OTP super. I'll just say. I'm not sure if this will shake out, but the thought is again like pay double, pay the LLM to write your code, and then pay the LLM to forget all that context and like kind of audit your code and say could this be bringing risk of any sort into this place, mostly through like security accidental or deliberate like security lapses or breaches or prompt injection kind of things, something. I imagine this might be something else where there's tons of like working code and stuff out there more than, and I've just thought of it this morning, more or less, right? Okay, guardrails. What else? Oh yeah. Um, in my, let's see, for an idea, I'm like a recovering consultant. Let's see, for to do, just for thoughts. Yeah, just maybe a thought. Like that initial during like during the like boot step or initial step. The point is, have a framework, like follow a framework, like follow a scoring framework. Um, like use a scoring framework to guide everything. Example. So an example of a scoring framework is like 1 to 10, 0 to 10, risk appetite, budget, these sorts of things. That's the idea, is like, well, if I just met someone in speed dating and they said, here's what I want to do, I would kind of intuitively do this in my own head. I would say, oh, this person is spending, a few $1,000s, or they're spending their life savings. They've spent many years into this, investing in this, or they thought about it last night. Uh, um, they're more interested in like high risk, high reward, like going viral and social, explosion, or not. I think you could kind of maybe you could drill in, on the tech, like we will or will not pay for backups. This is connected elsewhere. I wrote in here, like, are we doing lots of backups and are we super by the book or not or whatever? So maybe it comes down to like, well, I don't know, if you're a 2 out of 10 on, data importance or something, then we're doing weekly backups and we're not testing them as thoroughly or something like that. And that framework could be a helpful clarifying thing. In other words, like maybe the knowledge base, like, knows that it exists. Maybe these stories in the knowledge base say like, this applies for a 4, 5, and a 6 on the risk appetite scale. That's the point. Like just these numbers, these simple scores in this simple framework allows tons and tons of decision making, automatic decision making and smart, correct decision making. Like a lot, like hundreds of decisions are made, on the basis of these basic fundamental, scores. That's the thought. So did I write it up well? Yeah. Okay. What else? Any lessons from RT? Oh, real time. I wrote that down already. I want to do a little research. I haven't done the research, but I wrote that down. Can real time. That's an what do we call them now? Influences. Love it. Now what else? Any lesson from RT? Odesk. Yeah, build 3, keep 1. Let me just put that on my whiteboard. So, Odesk, Upwork, that sort of thing. This is a massively successful approach, which is just hire 3 people, build the product 3 times, a small prototype, and then continue with the one that's going the most successfully. I think exactly the same. I think part of this might just be literally telling this thing to build 3 times in the way a human would never do, in order to, make up for the deficiencies that humans don't have, and to take advantage of the strengths these systems do have. Idea, agentic agents, OTP supervision tree. Oh yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. Let me put a dog food idea maybe. Use the atomic agents to build an OTP supervision tree. Or right. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Maybe atomic agents could work here. It might be a fit. Atomic agents are supposed to be like extremely clearly defined scope. So if supervision trees work, which is a big if, then maybe atomic agents is a good way to implement it. Oh, another big power tool that I want to capture that I learned about is context forking. Apparently, I don't know how awesome it is. Is it like a Databricks Delta Lake or something? It sounds like you can sort of. My understanding is in the middle of some conversation or something, you can kind of snapshot it and then fork off and say, in this universe, we're gonna discuss this part of the thing that needs to be done, but because it's helpful and valuable, using the same context, we're gonna also fork off this way. I could see how that would be extremely awesome, extremely useful. So that's in there. In fact, I think it might be available via API. It's like a continuing sort of thing, or checkpointing. So let's check. Okay, I have 2 notes. I'll take a break and then I'll come back and write code. Under planning, I just learned this just moments before I logged in. Where's my planning stuff? So this plan tree, I just learned before this, there's, by my understanding, kind of two things: HTN plan, and then there's GOAP. So HTN, yeah, is this hierarchical task network. And the point is, I think this is a well-known concept, and there's a lot of Python and JavaScript code, and I think even now, LLM connected code to do this stuff. I think some of this approach I think is used in video games. I'll have to see. Yeah, automated planning, that is definitely, maybe that's a big thing that I'm about to learn about on this project. AI planning. Yeah. I don't know if AI in this context, though, is connected to large language models. We're going to be doing, obviously, all this through a large language model. What else is there? Hierarchical task network. Yes. So there's hierarchical task networks, and then there's GOAP. See what that is? Goal-oriented action planning. There's a GitHub project. Let's read the GitHub project. 41 commits. We got 2 months ago, and we got 2 years ago. Goal-oriented action planning. Oh, development Go. Right. Creation of plans. But I want to know the concept of GOAP. Oh, cool. Right, for video game. Okay, so this is the one that's video game programming. Just a bunch of thoughts. Vinny Godot. Oh yeah, Godot. That was the thought in the for the dog fooding. Godot. Let me put it before I forget. Where was that dang dog fooding? Godot. Video game, Godot. I want to make this thing write me a Godot game. That'd be fun. Okay. Okay. Research GOP. That's fine. I don't want to really understand the theory too much right now because the main question is like, can I wire anything like this into some sort of process for planning? I mean, it's free CTO mode, right? Hi, I'm a CEO. I got a great idea. We just need an app that does this and these things. And then from there, like I think it must be an interactive conversation. There's no way it must be. It must say, well, now we need to know this. Now we need to know that. What's your risk appetite? Well, whatever. And then once like all the kind of like the human relevant context is captured, is known, like my budget or whatever, then there's another kind of layer. This is why I think it's a tree. There's another layer of planning that's like, well, okay, here's the budget. Are we going to do AWS or Azure or GCP or Alibaba? Or Linode, are we, there's cost, but then there's like, there's a lot of factors but it must push through, with the plan. It must complete the plan. It can only work if the plan becomes completely thorough, completely, detailed, extremely detailed, and that it's written up. I mean, it might like kind of be like a full Confluence kind of amount of volume, a lot of volume, a big book, or here's how this is going to work, or something like that. Uh, Another reason I think it has to be a tree. Where did I write? Did I write a tree? Yeah, these tree. Another reason I think it has to be a tree, and kind of to these reductions is it's a very natural way to cut and limit scope. You can say, oh, this branch is irrelevant, and everything in it. This branch is irrelevant, and you could prune that tree, potentially, and you could prune the plant. And if it were a tree, if you pruned like kind of all the deep nodes, good. Now you got a high level plan. If you prune all the branch nodes and have only the leaf nodes, good. Now you basically have your you basically have your instructions to tell the LO. You have actions that need to be completed, right? You have like go and make a button on the website, right? Kind of level of stuff or something. And then it all reduces back up into something done potentially. Or you clone that tree, and instead of an implementation, or I don't know if it's a tree plan or whatever, but whatever, you clone that work, and rather than implementation, you're confirming it, for correctness. And you like walk up the tree in the same way, like kind of like test coverage. Every line of code needs to have test coverage. This is like every piece of the plan needs to be confirmed to have been done and to have been a smart thing to do. Something like that. I don't know. That's why it's trees. That's why it's trees capturing this knowledge or something. But I won't go to. And then what was the last thing? Oh, just several more projects to be aware of. GPT engineer. 1,600 commits, not bad. Oh, 9 months ago is the last commit. Interesting. The OG code generation. Okay, I wonder if it's like forked off. GPT engineer, set up an API key. Cool. Commercial project, great. So I think this is kind of not right. Well, let's see it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, kind of vibe codey. But nine months since the last commit is weird. Is it because there's a main branch? I don't know. Okay. Oh. Yikes. Okay. Cool. So, what else? Aider. Software development platform. The industry leading context engine? What's a context engine? Okay. I want to learn about this. This is very slick. This does not look like an open source pair programmer. Okay, memory in context. I don't know why. Oh my God, and my entire computer's slowing down. We're getting out of here. The answer is no. Okay. Next, auto scrum. Is that a thing? Python script. Here you go. Automating scrum planning. Okay, maybe that's cool. 2 years ago, 5 commits. Paper. Okay. Okay. Right. So, but I kind of want the thing with auto scrum. I was wondering what I was looking for today. I haven't found is there a generic system where you just say it's not Scrum? We're not making software. We have a generic goal, and we're gonna break that down into components, into subcomponents, and we're gonna just systematically break it all down into planning out, and then we're gonna I don't know, we're gonna iterate quickly, and we're gonna pressure test, and we're gonna get quick feedback, is what I might say. So, but this is interesting. So auto scrum, I'll just keep it up. What is this called? Gene US? Whoa, no. Development 4th generation, no. What is it? Let me just type AI. I think it's an open source AI project. No. No. I want to actually find Gene. Maybe I couldn't find it. Or maybe it's hallucinated. No, it's not equilibrium. Planning? No. Don't know. And then runbooks.sh was the last one that was really interesting. This is not it, right? It's not a... Is .sh a TLD now? Yeah, here. Yes. Is this it? I saw it as the like... It was... Let's see. It was this massive repository of like, I think like basically open source runbooks. Let me see. Maybe that wasn't it. It was this massive open source community. I thought they called themselves runbooks.sh. Yes. Open source communities. Yes. Awesome cloud ops automation. Oh, cool. Yeah, that was the one I found it under. Collection of tools, runbooks, practices designed to automate and streamline cloud ops. Cool. And SRE, really nice. So this could actually be like the first scope if this thing's already doing really good cloud ops. I saw this Jupyter Notebooks. That's so great. I know you can do notebooks. There's a client server thing, but basically getting it on the browser is going to be awesome, and the browser's ready. That was totally awesome. So, unscript, your SRE Copilot, right? Runbook actions. So where's it in? Yeah, get started. Cloud ops, pre-built actions and runbooks. Yeah, okay, I'll leave this up. So if this is a bunch of stuff that helps, if this is like either an open source knowledge base or like steps, steps needed to accomplish various tasks, either one of those would be extremely valuable. Create a runbook. No, where do I want to? Getting started. I don't want to. Why do I want a proxy? Why is setting up a proxy in my sign up? Pre-built X runbooks. AWS access key rotation. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's a notebook. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Oh, so they're genuinely like books. Okay. So this is interesting. This could be informative. Apparently it's a massive, oh yeah, let's see. Right. Cool. Yes. That's neat. That's neat. I mean, it may or may not kind of conflict or overlap with Terraform or something. I don't know, but this is cool. Okay. That is literally every note. Let me check it in and see. That's like every note that I took in the last 3 days. So let's check it in. Okay. I just want to see that diff. Did I get a lot of work done? I hope I got some output done here. Show me my diff. Okay, yeah, the influences, the whiteboard. All right. I guess so. I guess I got a little work to show for myself. So what I want to do, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to write code tonight. I'm going to write, hopefully, if I don't get tired, a lot of code tonight. And what I want to do, I'm definitely happy to kind of zoom out. Um, I'm no longer frustrated that it was pain in the neck to set up that AI ML or whatever it was. Uh, AI. Um, it I would I'm I should not have been quite so frustrated. I was frustrated that like the code wasn't compiling and stuff, but it definitely will be important and be needed. And so I've already proved that out. And so I'm kind of glad, although I'm a little sick of it. So I'm sort of glad that this like chat pane and agent feels pretty good. Now that all the notes are in, I think I might kind of review them or find the top priorities, and I want to start getting into real simulations of maybe concretely synthesizing this original idea with some of the new notes. Maybe there's architectural decision records, there's ADRs, and there's other, what the heck was the name of that other, like, PRDs, there's product requirements documents. That's the sort of thing to simulate. Uh, Definitely, there's no querying out. Maybe I don't know, an MCP tool. Maybe Fire. What is it? Fire Scrape or something? Was that Fire Crawl? Maybe Fire Crawl crawling some local knowledge. If it's easy, if not, checked into the files, and then I don't know, either generate or go through the dog food. Either generate some other ideas that are maybe a little simpler, or just give it some of these. Yeah, I just want a public like registry to publish. Like maybe this is an Apache Ask. I don't know. Um, and kind of just get a sense of what does it take. What would it take for a automated? It's going to be hard enough to get this right, but like depending how you count restarts and retries, it has to like get it right first try. From the perspective of the human, it can have some false starts and things on its own. But so the experiment is like, what does it take to build that matrix up and do that? Maybe this scaling testing framework might be easy as an experiment. And a little bit other one, let me just edit it. Just because I'm interested, I may take a moment to think a little more deeply about, where was that OTP stuff? Yeah, OTP supervision trees. Oh, well, wasn't that one of the dog foods? Oh, one of the dog foods already has it, so that counts. That's fine. It's not testing Claude Code. I may take a little bit of time just because it's fun and it's open source and I'm quite curious. Look into, is this a somewhat obscure, approach, somewhat, not very obscure, of of supervision trees. Maybe improve and crash only and fast fail and lots of these concepts improve the quality of the agent output. If we mistrust these things, and they have the burden of proof to explain why they should not be killed, otherwise they're just dying and respawning, constantly, and we just pay for a few extra tokens. Does that result in a reliable dependable, valuable tool? That's the question. So let me log off, take a quick break. Oh yeah. Claude's plan. We'll get into this plan. We'll get into this plan next when this is done, because this was just some quick questions about how's it using Docker, which I'm interested after I've eaten. The end.